Moral injury is a very difficult topic to define for a lot of people because for each person that's experienced it, it's probably going to mean something different. With veterans that have experienced combat or not, moral injury is the fact that we exist within a world where we aren't in control of everything. With whether or not you're a captain in the Marine Corps or you're a commander in the Navy or a general in the Army, you report to somebody else with absolute commitment to those orders. And so moral injury is when you might have to take actions that violate morals that you have, or see things that just deeply betray your morals and can't do anything to stop that.
Moral injury is, for me, is what it means to me is basically those things that I hold true that I was taught when I was a young man somehow became compromised either by my professional life or some things that happened to me personally.
Moral injury, it's a trauma within someone, within themselves. Being young men, we're not really guided in the right direction. You know, it's like kind of like throwing a cub into the forest. You know what I mean? It's like you got to find your way back or find a way to survive.
For me personally, moral injury is something that really shook my world. When I got to Afghanistan, I realized most of the people that I was fighting were just like the people that I knew back home. But the only difference was they were taught to hate us, and we were taught to hate them. And so it became a fundamental challenge for me to understand how do I define moral injury. And for me, it was realizing that we were all just players caught in a play. And despite the actions I had to take, when I was in Afghanistan, one day I decided I woke up that I didn't believe in the mission anymore. And that was when the moral injury really started for me.
Moral injury impacts the veterans that I work with a number of ways. So a few ways that I can think of is more so the guilt. Some of these are precursors to other things such as PTSD, MST, some of those things of that nature.
I lost 14 of my brothers in Afghanistan. And every single one of those losses still hurts. And I wear 14 stars across my chest with a banner and a tattoo that says honor the fallen. Because I know people like Brandon Burry, a father and son from Texas, served in Iraq with my battalion and came back to Afghanistan and laid his life down. People like Donald Marler, who I counted as my friends, who gave up their lives for this country. And I want to live every day to honor their sacrifice. And I didn't want any more people to have to go home in body bags and to hear 21 gun salutes because the Taliban effectively operated better than I
was playing baseball for the Marine Corps. Stepped on a plate, my knee collapsed. So the guilt that I felt, the shame as being a senior staff NCO, watching your troops get ready to deploy, packing, going through the dentals, doing your wills, your records of emergency data, watching them do all of that and walking that way with them, all the administrative pieces, but not packing your own stuff, not doing your own wills. It sent me to a very depressive state. We're always taught in leadership, next person up. I had a certain position as a senior staff NCO of leading Marines and not being able to fulfill that which I signed up for. Became very depressing to actually see my name on the big board and to see the end say non-deployable, instead of D for deployable. Every day I had to walk past that board and I would just stand and I would stare at it.
In September 1988, my father was convicted of murder. Told me that I was gonna be the man of the house at 7 years old. It kind of worried me when I did enlist. Me being that father figure or the man of the house, it had a huge impact on my decision to leave and go UA. I just don't want to see myself being a veteran, serving in dry dock, then have a dead or disabled sibling or mother. It just led me to protect my family, to be honest. I took it in my own hands. My first instinct was to get in contact, not to get in contact with my family, but just to watch over them. So I eventually would sit in a car with the 9mm and would watch my sister go to school. Every morning, rain or shine, I was there. For the record, I returned myself in the first time and was sobbing, man. I felt like I betrayed my country.
Ultimately, my moral injury came from the fact that I was watching people fall, people die in my battalion, to take ground that we had no intention of holding. And I still miss, and I still honor those that fell, but I try not to carry that battle with me every day anymore. I came into this work with veterans because I felt a call to purpose, but that call to purpose was my moral injury. One of the things I've learned since doing this work is they say that part of moral injury is wanting to deeply prevent other people from experiencing the same thing that you did. And I'm not responsible for anybody else, but I can help them. I can use my experience, I can use my pain, I can use my injury, and I can give that to them in a way that is an example to say, hey, I've been where you're at. I felt broken. I tried to pull a blanket over myself to tell myself I was whole, but my feet kept on poking out. But what it comes down to is that you need help, because I needed help too.